oh, well, there's already enough podcasts. Like, who needs another fucking podcast? Like, who cares what you have to say? Rah, rah.
So much uniqueness and so much freedom in a podcast. You know, there's so many opportunities.
Because at this point in my life, like, I realize that nothing fucking matters unless I want it to. So, if I believe in something and it's fun to do,
Right.
then just go for it.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos. Learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies.
Until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
So the intro ends, the music fades down, sort of soft guitar in the background, and that's when we start talking.
And we are.
So I will refill the wine glasses,
Damn.
because we're going to need that for this.
Episode number 1 right here.
Episode number 1. What's the date? Let's orient our listeners. Where are we? What time is it? What date? What planet? What's going on?
You tell me. It's Thursday, March 31st, 9:32 p.m. Bloomfield, New Jersey. Day 1.
Okay. We're still in Jersey?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh my god. When are we going to get out of here?
Let's see. Devon is 6. When she's 18.
Yeah.
When she's off to college, doing her
So
thing.
12 more years of this shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would you rather be?
Where would I rather be? Italy is the first place that comes to mind. I mean, it's kind of cliche at this point.
Why?
Well, I don't know, just because I'm Italian.
Ah.
So that would be like, oh, he wants to go back to Italy. But I do.
We will. We're going to have our summer house in Italy. That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Tuscany.
Tuscany?
Or on the beach. Near the beach.
There's a lot of beaches in
I don't
Italy.
give a shit what beach
Like,
it is.
Italy's a peninsula, so it's pretty much like there's a lot of beaches
Any
to
beach,
choose from.
Any beach. I'm good. As long as we could open the back door and put our feet in the sand.
What if, like, the oceans rise and it becomes flooded within our lifetime?
Why do you gotta go there? Why can't we just dream?
Well, I'm just... Yeah.
We could put our house on stilts.
Just move everything back.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we don't have to buy a house in Italy. We can build a tiny house in Italy. And then we could put it on stilts. Put that bitch on stilts.
That's true.
Come on.
Yeah, why not?
You know?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a basement. We can get an attic.
They have self-driving cars. Pretty soon they're going to have self-driving houses.
In Italy, they have self-driving cars already.
Do they really?
You just said that.
No, I didn't mean they as in like the Italians have self-driving cars. I mean
Just
they
in
as in
general.
like the people that understand technology, like the Google people,
The
have
Google
made
people.
self-driving
Right,
cars.
I saw them parallel park it. That's
When
what
I
you
say
s-
they, I mean the people that are lucky enough to try this shit out before us, before it filters down to us, the common
commoners.
The commoners. The plebes. The normals. We're the ones that need the fucking self-driving cars because we're the ones that like are so frustrated and anxiety-ridden over the situation of our lives as basically invisible slaves that we channel it into our driving, and that's not good.
Well, I can tell you that I know if anybody needs a self-driving car, it is you.
Do you think that drive-bys would be easier or harder
With
with self-driving cars?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be easier because you don't have time to panic and stop and get into an accident. The car would just keep going.
Yeah.
You just take a few shots and it keeps going.
But does the car? Can you also alter the speed of the car?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some kind of control.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be as easy as pushing a button.
Right.
So it's like bang bang, 60, 70, 80. Let's get out of here.
I'm worried that your voice is too low for the recorder.
I don't think you have a problem.
You don't think so?
No. You heard me fine before.
What if we have this whole conversation and
would you rather I speak like this?
and it sounds like me
I'll
talking
speak
to myself.
like this from now on.
Well, okay, all right. So, like, wait, who are you? First of all,
I am that.
No, it's
I'm
from
Nicky. I am Nicky.
From the Bible. I am that I am.
No, I am that. It's a yoga concept I've learned.
Ah.
I mean, it's the same concept. I mean, obviously everything is connected.
Why are we recording right now?
Why are we recording? You tell me why we're recording. This is your thing.
It's a podcast, and I've decided that for the first episode that I will not do a long rant in the beginning.
That's exactly what we just did.
Well, yeah, but it was we and not I. And so I thought that maybe you asking me questions. Basically, I'm my first guest. And you're going to be the one interviewing me. And then at some point we'll have you on as an actual guest.
That'll be pretty boring.
No, that's going to be pretty damn interesting.
Alright, so talk to me about your title, Opus Marcus.
Well, Opus Marcus, I don't even really know if it's the title yet, to be honest.
Why? Why do you say that?
Well, it had a mixed reaction from people. I mean, one person was sort of indifferent, and the other person thought it should have something after the Opus Marcus, like some other like Latin word or something, because they like things in threes. But once I explained the concept of Opus Marcus, they appreciated it. They liked it a little bit more.
Alright, well, why don't you explain the concept, because some people might not know what opus even means.
Well, an opus is, without looking at the dictionary that I don't have handy right now, it's mostly a musical composition, right? But it can also refer to just a body of work, a completed work, your opus. And, you know, like your magnum opus is like your greatest work. So, the idea with Opus Marcus is connected to the theme song, actually, the opening song, which had the crazy distorted guitar, and is, once I edit this down, like playing the soft guitar underneath. All of that we've been listening to this entire time is from Dan Hall.
I know Dan.
Exactly. And Dan was fooling around in his basement one day, I guess tuning his guitar, messing around with it. He's thinking of me, and he named this piece here Awake to Sleep Opus Marcus. Opus Marcus in parentheses. And I thought that was fucking awesome. Nobody had ever done anything like that before for me. So, this is like sort of my theme song, I guess.
Well, it means something to you. It's personal too.
Yes, but it is not going to be a recurring theme song on the podcast. Right. I want to have it open with a different song each time. This is just good as a first episode.
I mean, this is just my opinion, but being that Dan made that song for you. You should totally have Dan on one of your podcast episodes.
Oh, I would love to have Dan on a podcast at one point.
He's a cool dude, Dan.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're gonna have this PG podcast here.
No, I censored myself, but I'm not going to. I said fuck like a minute ago. No, will be no censor. We should actually talk about that later,
Okay.
like the kind of things that will be on this.
All
But
right. So
going
we
back
know
to
what
the
to expect.
yeah, going back to the Opus real quick.
Right.
It's the idea behind Opus Marcus, other than I'm a sucker for alliteration, is that this podcast is an opus, and it's being created as the podcast goes on. You know, it's an opus that I'm creating that involves other people. I look at this as a work in progress, I guess.
So why a podcast in general?
Why a podcast?
Why did you want to do a podcast in the first place?
Wow, that's well, I mean, I guess I have to thank Doug for pushing me to start listening to podcasts like Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell, and at this point, Chris Ryan, Joey Diaz, Tim Ferriss, Daniele Bolelli,
I can't forget Daniele Bolelli.
Dan Carlin. I mean,
Endless.
There's just so many out there, but those are definitely the top. Radiolab.
You didn't name one woman who has a podcast. Are there many?
Women? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's tons of women that have podcasts. The one that I forgot to mention is Cara Santa Maria.
Who was the
has
one
her
that was on the
science
podcast we were listening to today on Duncan Trussell's podcast? Who was she? She was a comedian.
That
but
was
she's not-
Laura Keitlinger. I believe am I pronouncing it right? Keitlinger? Laura Keitlinger. I don't think she has her own podcast. I don't know. I'd have to check. Wait, what were we?
I said, why did you decide to do a podcast in general?
Oh, well, it's just once I started listening to podcasts.
Right, the possibilities are endless.
It's unbelievably endless, and, you know, the hater's response is automatically like, oh, well, there's already enough podcasts. Like, who needs another fucking podcast? Like, who cares what you have to say? Rah, rah. You know, like that person that said the thing to you about life coaching. What was
Oh
it they
my
said to
god,
you?
I can't believe you remembered that.
I remember
you know
that
what?
shit.
Yes, that was that was John from the yoga studio.
What did he
said,
say?
He said, "Oh, you're going to be a life coach." What did he say? Oh, I was talking to him about my career. I was talking to him about being a vet tech and how I wanted to get out of the career and move into life coaching. He goes, "Oh, there's enough life coaches out there. You should stay in the veterinary field." And it threw me for a loop. I just didn't expect anybody to say anything like that to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I was under the impression that, like, life coaching is the shit, because I think it is, so
I mean,
why wouldn't anybody else? But, I mean, yes, it was an ignorant comment, but what the hell? I don't know. I can't take too much offense.
I mean, can't you say that with anything? Like,
But he's a
there's
yoga
enough-
teacher. I could say, you know, aren't there enough yoga teachers
There's
out
enough
there? But
fucking
you
yoga
know what?
teachers
And there
out
are
there.
millions of yoga teachers out there. But, you know, each and every one of them have something to give to this world, something unique, and something different. You know, something beautiful.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's the same thing with podcasts. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a voice. You know, and not everybody is going to have the same exact yes every session, every episode.
No,
you know,
exactly.
There's so much uniqueness and so much freedom in a podcast. You know, there's so many opportunities. And you can just, I mean, you can meet somebody on the street and, you know, get up a conversation. Be like, hey, I got this podcast. What do you think about, you know? You know, how cool would it be to have some random person you just met at the supermarket? Hey, I have a podcast. What do you think? Who knows what you guys could end up speaking
Next
about?
thing you know, an hour, 2 hours goes by.
Exactly. And that
That's the
happens
idea.
in general. You know, that happens in general. You meet somebody, you don't know them from Adam, and then you spark up this great conversation, and you're like, where have you been all my life? Like, and that's a great episode right there.
Exactly.
And you might never see them again. Who cares? The fact is, it served a purpose for, like, a couple hours. You were entertained, you met somebody new, and you had a great conversation. It was a connection.
Well, and that's the thing, is like there's no end to the amount of people you can have, the amount of subjects you can discuss, the amount of crazy little skits you can do, whatever. whatever.
Such a creative endeavor.
Yeah, it's just, and it's the first time in history that human beings have been able to do something quite like this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never really heard of a podcast until you brought it up to me.
I mean, it's like, there are kids doing podcasts. It's not even a big thing. It's just like, do you want to do it or not? I mean, there's also ego involved. Like, I've been going through this in my mind of, like, I'm 38 years old. Like, who gives a fuck? Who's really gonna listen? Like, there's all the doubts. Like, the person who said there's enough life coaches.
Right.
Yeah,
but everybody has those doubts when they start something new. Everybody. And they were right. Some of the people that have very successful podcasts were right where you are right now, doing their first episode. Like, God only knows this is not going to work. It's just,
Well, in a way, though, like, I think it's a good time to do this because at this point in my life, like, I realize that nothing fucking matters unless I want it to. So, if I believe in something and it's fun to do, then just go for it.
Well, of course, now is the perfect time because now is all there is.
Now is definitely all there is. Unless now was a tenth of a second ago.
This is true.
So why a podcast? Yeah, I mean, it's just inspiring. I mean, really, what it comes down to is when I'm listening to these podcasts and I hear all these great guests, I kept thinking to myself, I know so many interesting people. Like, it would be so awesome to have, like Anthony, who knows all about gardening and organic, Corey to come on and talk about bees, right, and Doug to talk about teaching, and Pepe to, just whatever the fuck Pepe would do when he gets on here, Noel to rant, and so on and so forth.
There's just so many interesting topics that can come up that are so relevant. Like, I what stuck out to me was Corey and the bees. Bees are so important right now, and not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of people realize that. And somebody can click on this podcast and hear Corey so passionately talking about these bees, and they're going to learn something in that hour or two or whatever it is. They're going to find a nugget, and they're going to take it with them, and they're going to know something or other about bees.
That is the truth.
Or whoever you have. I'm just using Corey as an example. But it's, whoever. Somebody's going to find some sort of a nugget to take with them for the rest of their life.
Another tool for teaching. And it's true. I mean, like I said to you earlier today, when we come back from the spa, that I've learned more from just listening to podcasts in the last, 3 or 4 years than I have from any other source. Right. Online, social media, with the articles and the links. Podcasts are where it's at.
It's true. Because, like I said in the car, I forget how much I love listening to podcasts until I actually am literally forced by you, because I'm in the car and you put it on and I have no choice to listen. And it's not a bad thing because I end up really, really loving it. I mean, these people talk about things that I would never research. Exactly. You know what I mean? I research a lot of business, life coaching, motivational speakers. That's what I'm into right now. I mean, a lot of other things spark my interest, but I would never consciously think, let me Google hunting or whatever you were talking about the other day. Right. The guys that were farmers and like those kind of things. Like, I would never Google that, but when they're on there speaking about it, I'm like, wow, this is friggin' fascinating.
Exactly.
So it's so educational too. And it's educational in a, I don't know if I want to use a modern way, but like they can speak freely. Like, I don't want to read a book on farming. How boring is that?
Well, not only that, but I mean, when you say speak freely, it's not, and it's also lengthy. Yeah. Like, it's long and it's flowing, and there are the ums and the likes and the pauses totally and all that. It's a real conversation. It's a real conversation, right? That goes places and has depth.
It makes you feel comfortable listening. Like, I'm sitting here reading a piece of literature that's so politically correct, or literature, like, it's just so blah and bland and
it's almost a form of meditation too, because with some people, I was like, well, I don't have time to listen to these podcasts. It's like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you have a commute, if you have to do some
you're doing the dishes?
Doing the fucking dishes, when you have to clean, like all those boring, monotonous tasks where you're usually rambling in your head some complete and total nonsense.
Yeah.
You could be listening.
Yeah, I'm totally regretting. I mean, over the past 2 years that we've been together, you have sent or told me about multiple. You should listen to this. You would love. And I didn't listen to hardly any of them
Listen,
because
it's
my
okay.
attention span, for podcasts, I thought was so short. And now I'm like, I wish that we could go back and you could revisit those podcasts that you told me that I should listen to, because now I'm so interested in listening to them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're going to come around again, or there's going to be more. I mean, but
I would say
the Radio Lab one about the colors was
the
there
Radio
one
Lab.
like
Well,
that
that's an
about
old
color?
one.
Yeah, it's an old one, but I remember it.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Yeah.
Such unique shit.
Radio Lab is the shit. Radio Lab is. And that's one that's, that's well edited. Those aren't free-form conversations.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, no, that one's definitely...
Why is that? Why are they more edited?
I think it's because it's through NPR.
Oh, okay.
And it's,
that makes sense.
it's more of a radio show.
Right.
But it's so well done. I mean, because he edits together the people he's interviewing and just...
Right. So are you going to put this on your own website? Like you're going to create a separate website?
There will be a website, but the actual podcast will be hosted somewhere else on a different server.
But your website will have the link to your podcast.
Correct.
The accessibility to your podcast. But, okay.
Yes, the website will have, all the episodes with a description and links for the guests if they have links. And there will have a download link so that you can download it directly to your device,
that's cool.
Or you can just stream it, from the site.
Do you have how long you want each podcast to be, or you're just going to kind of wing it and it ends up being what it is?
There's very few rules for this,
Right.
because I am totally winging it, and I'm taking ideas and emulating, trying not to directly copy, but I want to emulate my heroes.
Right.
And just play around with. I've seen things that they've done, and try and make it my own.
Right. So you said you want to do a podcast because obviously you love podcasts in general. You've learned a lot from them, but what's your goal? Like, what are you hoping to achieve?
I mean, the ego part of me just would love some fucking recognition and some attention, and just to know that I'm doing something that people are interested in. That would be fucking great. But I don't expect any of that, and that's not really why I'm doing it. It's more just like, this is what's a goal? A goal would be to have a regular episode every 2 weeks with a steady guest. And if there wasn't a guest, just enough content to put out an episode. And to be able to do that consistently until there's a listener base. And when I say a listener base, if I could prove to myself that there were 10 people listening, that would be enough. If I could prove to myself that there were 5 people listening, that would be enough. One person, that's a little sketchy.
That would be me.
That would be you. You're gonna listen to them all?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so I got one person, ladies and gentlemen. I got one person. And if I could just have maybe one other, like a trinity.
You know who's really good at support and just reading up on your stuff? Every time you post a blog on Facebook, Kara reads every single one of them.
Yeah.
She's very supportive in that aspect.
Yes. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, her mother's a writer.
This is true.
There's another
So
good
she has an
person to
appreciation.
interview for a podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Her mom is awesome.
I have a list of people that I want to ask, and then I thought, well, when I run out of people that I know, I can start, jumping into the world of interviewing people that would be fascinating to me. People that in the normal world I wouldn't even expect to get a podcast with. But
how would you get those though?
I have
what
no
would you
idea.
Do? I mean, it would happen organically. I think.
If it's somebody
eventually
that's
down the line.
Yeah, if it's somebody that's well known, I mean, you can contact their agent. But
would you have to pay them?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I would rather it just be, like, what did you say, organically?
Yeah,
that's the way I would like it. It's just...
And you know what, though? I truly believe that if you can manifest anything you want to. I mean, if you really set a vision and an intention for yourself and you constantly... That's what I've been doing. I've been constantly dreaming this dream of being a successful life coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly envisioning my success and talking about it. I'm not ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of it anymore, and I just talk about it. You know what I mean? And if, manifestation, The Secret, the book that they have out there now, I mean, it's not now. I mean, it's been out for a very long time, but that's serious stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, The Secret is lame. The book itself is lame.
Right. It is a lame book. I've tried to read it, and I couldn't even get through it.
But the actual idea of
is
creating reality with your thoughts is obviously entirely true. And yes, I've seen you do that, and actually your passion for your transition into life coaching has been my inspiration, obviously, for this podcast, because... remember we sat down and you needed somebody to practice your coaching on. Yeah. So you coached me about creating a podcast.
And here we are.
Immediately after is when I started working on it.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I'm a little buzzed right now. And we were at the sauna all day, so I feel like I've been stumbling over my words, but we're getting the gist of this.
I don't think you've stumbled. Hey, I just poured a glass of wine. Weren't we listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where they were drinking wine and he's like, "Oh, you could hear my, me pouring my wine." Yes. That's what that reminded me of just now.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, Joe Rogan, you're great.
See, you can do anything.
You can do anything.
Pretty soon.
I'm very impressed with you, I must say, because we only did one coaching session, and it's funny because, I have a potential client call on Monday, and I wanted to talk to him about one session is probably not going to be enough, and I guess it depends on the situation, because you and I had one session, and you are right now a few weeks later, that, and within that week you got your recorder, whatever, I don't know what the hell it's called, but you got it, and then the weeks after that you were planning and making sure that you had everything you needed, and I've been very busy, so I haven't been able to do the interview with you, so a lot of the blame is on me for it not coming to fruition sooner, but we're here right now. Like, in one session, you were able to realize, like, I really want to do this, and I have to do this, and why wouldn't I do this, and you're doing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
Well, I mean, I have a long history of starting things with much enthusiasm and not finishing them. So it's,
a lot of people do.
Not, starting it wasn't the issue, but
well, as your life coach, I'll hold you accountable. I mean, you know what though? Once you start doing it and you realize how it makes you feel to do it, your passion is there, like you realize it makes your heart sing.
Well,
you know
that's
what I'm
the
saying?
thing.
Like you will keep doing it.
When I made the little bits that are going to come after, in this first episode, like there will be other bits that come after this conversation. And when I made those, I mean, that's the fun part. That's when, you laugh to yourself, and that was exciting. And that's when I started doing that is when I was like, okay, this feels good. I like this feeling, so I'm going to keep doing this just because I like this feeling. There's no expectation of anything, because I'm not worried about finding somebody to talk to. How fucking hard is that going to be? Right? So that's it. All I have to do is just record conversations and then keep making episodes out of them. That's not hard.
Right. I mean, yeah, we know so many people, and those people know so many other people who are probably interested, and so on and so forth.
So do you have anything else to ask me? Because I'm not sure where to go.
Well, we talked about why you're doing a podcast and the goal. Like, when you said your goal is to have a few people on and, whatever. But, like, I was more concerned with, like, do you have an end goal? Like, what is the purpose of having this podcast? You know what I mean? Like, what is your motive? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, Alright, just give me a second, because I can explain this, I think. Well, like, go back to, like, the Rogan and the Duncan Trussells and the Joey Diaz and the Chris Ryans. And not that everybody knows each other and there's some secret world that you slip into. But at the same time, there's a secret world that you slip into.
Right.
And it's the world of people who have just evolved to the point where they're living their own dream. And they're happy with themselves, and they're doing what they love, and they're free of the burden of this like ordinary slave society. Like, they don't have regular jobs that they have to go to. They answer to themselves. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have problems, that their life's not perfect, or that they don't experience suffering. I mean, we all go through that. What I'm talking about is just this world that seems so close to me, but that's just like that I'm on the outside of. Like, I had this dream with Joe Rogan in it, and this will articulate what I'm explaining. And so I was in my old apartment in Irvington. Remember that?
I can't believe that you say that's your old apartment. It was like a year ago.
Well, that's my...
I thought you were going to say in Genoa.
No, this is the Irvington before we moved in together.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in that apartment. In the dream, I was in my apartment room, and I had just moved in, so I was organizing and setting everything up. Like, I was going to do a podcast or a project or something, but I was getting ready to do it.
Right.
But I was taking so long just fiddling around with, like, the details of arranging the room nice instead of actually doing the thing that I wanted to do. Meanwhile, across the hall was Joe Rogan doing his podcast, and I kept thinking as I set up my apartment, if I just get my apartment set up, if I just get everything set up like exactly the way it's supposed to be, then like it'll be ready, and then I'll be ready, and then I can go over and I can invite Joe over and I can be part of the podcast world.
Right.
But like it never happened in the dream because I wasted so much fucking time.
Right. Interesting.
And it's not that I have to fucking. It's not that I'm obsessed with Joe Rogan, first of all, and it's not that I need to like meet him.
Well,
and that
he's
will
like
be
a role model. I
mean, if I wanted to meet Joe Rogan, I could just hang out after one of his shows and not leave right when he's done, and shake his hand and say hello, and that would not complete my life. Right? That's not what this is about. It's more just about wanting to be part of that world, world of doing something that you love and it having a life of its own, like it being able to sustain you. I want to create something that can sustain me.
Sustain you in what way?
I mean, you know, everybody wants to say financially, but I don't need it to be financial. I need it to be something that, like, if I'm not doing something creative, like even with these stupid Genesis videos that I'm making, where I'm taking covers of Genesis songs, right?
Yeah.
And arranging them in playlists for fans to listen to. But that's still creation. It's creation on a very low level. But if I'm not creating something, then I stagnate, and that's death.
Right.
So I feel like there always needs to be, and everybody has to have that thing. You know, like it's like when you retire. Have something planned when you retire, because your work on this planet does not end just because your job ended when you were 65.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's always work to be done, and I feel like I can do a lot of good work through a podcast. I really do. I mean, I believe in myself enough to be willing to edit my crazy, ridiculous stuff down and have these awesome conversations.
I believe in you too.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So now what? We done?
Are you done?
You look really tired.
I'm tired, but it's okay. You didn't talk about yourself.
Myself? I think I talked about myself.
It says bio
enough.
here.
Well,
I mean, that shouldn't be at the end, right?
Why not?
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter.
If we get started talking about who I am, this this thing will never end. What would you say? Like, if you had to just summarize me.
Listen.
Don't put that burden on you.
Yeah. You have so many stories. I mean.
Well, I'm a 38-year-old male, 5'5", with gray hair, a large nose, and I look like a hobbit. And
You don't have hairy feet.
I have hairy feet.
I mean, not like a hobbit. I mean, they're not that hairy.
No. But I have the belly like a hobbit, and I'm short like a hobbit. I'm a teacher. I teach 5th grade. Oh, that's something we need to talk about. The boundaries for topics and discussions of this podcast.
Boundaries?
Well, boundaries is in really there are no boundaries, except that, like, where it would interfere with my career.
Why would it interfere with your career?
Well, it shouldn't.
Alright then, that's irrelevant.
Because I'm using a pseudonym.
Alright, so why even bring it up then?
Because I want to talk about the pseudonym.
Okay.
Marcus Oraelius.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you know where that comes from?
A philosopher?
Yeah, you could call him a philosopher. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor.
I didn't know that.
He was considered one of the 5 enlightened emperors. So he was at least... I wish I could describe to you listeners the look on her face right now when I said he was one of the 5 enlightened emperors. It was a look...
Well, because when I think of an emperor, I think of a king or somebody in all this that has this crazy amount of egotistical, narcissistic power.
No.
And I cannot...
No. I mean, I'm sure there were aspects of him that were like that. Sure. I mean...
I just can't see somebody in... an emperor being enlightened. Like, I mean, do they mean the true meaning of enlightened, or is that just a word they're using loosely?
Well, do you know what the true meaning of enlightened is?
I mean, not by experience.
So, no. I mean, I think it's more of just like a... Enlightened as in wise.
Alright, well then say wise. You can't say enlightened.
Well, I'm just
because
quoting.
Enlightened is somebody who is self-realized and who just... that's
right.
somebody's
You know what?
state. No, you can't use that term so lightly.
Okay, you're right. Guess what? I was wrong anyway. Marcus, this is why we need Wikipedia. Marcus Aurelius, his full name, Marcus Aurelius Antoninus Augustus, was Roman emperor from 161 to 180. He ruled with Lucius Verus as co-emperor. Oh,
is that where Lucius Verus comes from?
Maybe. He had a... maybe. That was a great show. He had a co-emperor from 161 until Verus' death in 169. He was the last of the 5 good emperors and is also considered one of the most important Stoic philosophers. So, like, he did a lot of cool shit when he was alive. Okay, but anyway, he wrote this book. It's not even a book. Like, he wrote... It's basically a journal. It's just like his recordings of the shit he's learned being emperor, like life advice, right? How to live the right life. And it's a pun. Marcus Aurelius, one of the 5 good emperors, right? And he wrote Meditations, and he's awesome.
He did? He wrote Meditations?
It's just a collection of his writings. Like, he didn't title it Meditations. Somebody titled it Meditations after.
Okay.
But it's just like his journals.
Huh.
And my mother named me after him.
No way, I didn't know that.
Yes.
How the fuck didn't I know that?
Even though I'm Marcus Anthony, and Marcus Anthony is another Roman character in his own right, I'm actually not named after Marcus Anthony. I'm named after Marcus Aurelius. And therefore, my pseudonym is Marcus Aurelius. Now, follow me on this. Aurelius. R-A-E-L. Rail. the character from Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, 1974.
Well, you made that up?
Yes, because I was like, Aurelius, and then originally I had it as O apostrophe because my last name has the D apostrophe, but no, I just like it as Oreelius, Marcus Aurelius, because it sounds almost exactly the same.
Yeah. Do you remember probably around Christmas time my aunt sent us a Christmas card or something in the mail, and it said Nicky Rivera and Marcus Oraelius on the envelope because she just took your name from Facebook. She didn't really know what your last name was.
That's great.
I laughed so hard. That was awesome.
And that's how I want it to be. I want to be known as Marcus Aurelius in this realm. Do you know who plays Marcus Aurelius? There's a movie, I think it's called just Rome or The Fall. I think it's called The Fall of Rome.
A movie.
In the 60s.
Excuse me.
Guess who plays Marcus Aurelius? Okay.
I don't know.
Time's up. It's it's Alec Guinness.
I don't know who that is.
He plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
What?
So there's that connection as well.
I guess I could... Yeah.
Yeah. He plays Marcus. Well, if you look... I don't have the book here, but if you look at the picture of Marcus Aurelius, Alec Guinness looks a lot like him. I guess. So, is there anything else that you need to ask me about this podcast before we officially stop recording the first episode? I have mixed feelings about this conversation.
Why?
Because I'm insecure about myself.
Well,
so I just I think
because I'm not doing this again. We're moving on. That's what life is about. We're moving forward. We're not going to keep this going back and forth bullshit.
Just hit stop.
This is an organic conversation. I barely even looked at your questions. It was a flowing conversation.
Well, I barely had any questions. It was just like a few words.
Well, and then what is it going to be next time if we re-record it?
You know, you're right. I think we covered all the important stuff.
And you know what?
I just wanted to provide some context for the listener.
Right. And you know what? The introduction is not going to make or break your podcast.
Well, the introduction, I like the introduction. That was me fucking around with the Audacity software for the very first time. And it was fun. And I wrote that little poem, and I put some voice effects to it. And I like how the podcast starts out with that distortion. And, I
have complete faith in this.
Yeah, thank you.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, like, I've barely met, I haven't even met half of your friends, and everything that you've told me about them sparks my interest, and I'm one person, you know what I mean? Having them on your podcast is going to bring such a uniqueness to this whole dream. And you know what? Some people will like this one and not the next one. And some people will like the next one after that and not the... You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Here's one thing I can definitely guarantee my listeners, whoever they may be. The people I have on here will be definitely interesting to listen to. They will be fascinating people, and anybody who listens will learn a lot. That I can guarantee, because I know that I'm going to learn a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Okay. I'm going to press stop.
I'm not doing this the second time.
No, we're not going to do it a second time.
Because it's just not going to be the same.
Okay. But will you be a guest on a later episode?
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe like a 10th anniversary episode.
10 years?
No, 10 episodes. 10 years. My God. What do you think it's gonna be like in 10 years?
What, your podcast?
I mean everything. 10 years from now. That's not a long time.
What do I think is going to happen in 10 years? Okay,
Who's going to be president?
Oh, fuck that. I knew you were going to ask that question. I swear to God, the first thing that popped into my head is don't fucking ask me who's going to be the goddamn president.
And the answer is...
Joe Rogan.
No, God, no. He's too smart to be president.
I don't know. I don't follow this shit enough to know who's going to be president.
And
Give
guess
me a
what?
break,
You know what?
man.
It doesn't matter anyway. Who cares, okay? It doesn't matter because... That reality is the old dying reality. That's the old paradigm. And podcasts are like the little seeds that are birthing the new reality. Right?
Right.
So what's life going to be like 10 years from now?
Whose life? I can't speak for anybody's life but mine.
All right, what's our lives going to be like 10 years from now?
Our life 10 years from now, Devon's going to be 16. We're going to be dealing with an emotionally unstable teenager who has a really, really good heart and a really great head on her shoulders, but is also, I think she's going to be a little bit naive because of me in a way, because I drill her with the be kind to others and respect others, and because that is so important to me. There's fucking neighbors again. Why does everybody have to be so goddamn loud around here?
He's just shutting his car door.
Oh, how's that feel?
What do you mean, how's that
You're
feel?
so reactive to things like that all the time.
I'm reactive to things that are dickish and annoying, not like somebody shutting their car door. Like when I react to something, there's a legitimate reason.
No. When you're in the slow lane and somebody's going the speed limit, you're fucking pissed.
When am I in the slow lane and somebody's going the speed limit?
When you're trying to get off an exit.
How pissed am I?
You're pretty pissed.
You think so?
You curse at them. You're like, "Oh, fuck my life."
No, I never
they're
said.
going like, "All right,
I have
don't say
never
fuck
said
my
fuck
life.
my
Fine.
life. I know.
All right, whatever. But you know what I'm saying.
That has nothing to do with my life. I don't believe that you should go the speed limit unless you absolutely have to.
Why?
Because the speed limit, like limits are for pussies.
All right, well maybe the person in front of you is a pussy.
No, I just mean like.
Maybe it's an old lady with fucking Alzheimer's and she really believes that she might have Alzheimer's and she's not sure where she's going and she's confused as hell and she's too afraid to go faster than the speed limit because she's going to get into an accident.
Well, then she shouldn't be on the road in the first place.
She doesn't know that because she doesn't remember she has Alzheimer's sometimes.
Man, then I would call in a silver alert.
Gray alert?
No, it's silver. Do you know silver alerts?
I do. They're old people. I get it.
Yeah, here's my thing though. And this is the truth. This is undeniable fact, people, at least in the North Jersey area. I have seen, like, probably 99% silver alerts on the road screens.
You have
It's
no idea.
always a silver alert. And there's like one a week.
Babe,
There's always
no.
some crazy,
In Florida,
senile, dementia-ridden, like,
In
elderly
Florida,
person driving around.
There's a new one every day.
Yeah.
In Florida. And there was maybe like 1 or 2 Amber Alerts a month. But in Florida, there were fucking multiple silver alerts a day.
That's why they have, I was telling you the other
The
day.
fake bus stops.
The fake bus stops.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What if all of reality is just the fake bus stop? Maybe we should leave.
I wouldn't
leave
be
it there.
surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised. Like, this life is just like the fake bus stop. We just keep coming back, but like it goes nowhere. You're just sitting around, just waiting for a bus, killing time, fucking having babies, raising kids, working a job, and then you die, and you're like, shit.
I'm not gonna say shit when I die.
You're not?
Hell no.
You will shit when you die, though.
I mean, probably. It just happens.
Yeah, exactly. One last shit to leave behind.
That's the worst. That's not. Yeah, that's really the worst. I bag dead animals daily.
Did you just say you bag dead animals daily?
Yeah, at work.
Try saying that 5 times fast. I bag dead animals daily.
It's
Bag dead
awful.
animals daily. Yeah, no, that's horrible. How
It's
do you
really
how do you deal with that? Like,
I put on gloves. I mean, at this point in my career, I don't deal with it. I just go with the motions. I'm on fucking autopilot. I'm on autopilot. I thought about that today.
Mm-hmm.
I go into work, I get rounds, I write my notes so that I know what the fuck I'm talking about and which patients I'm treating and why I'm treating them. I do their treatments. I mean, I care, you know, to a certain extent. I'm not the crier, you know, like, oh, this poor dog has pancreatitis. Oh, my God, it must be so hard. I'm not that guy, you know. I mean, I do what I gotta do. I give the medications that I'm supposed to give. I know why I'm giving them. I give them the way I'm supposed to give them. I make sure my patients are comfortable. I make sure they get some TLC throughout the day. And I make sure to be completely honest and upfront and compassionate and empathetic with their people. And that's what I do. I mean, but it's, you know, I say I'm on autopilot. I mean, if I was really on autopilot, I would just be like, okay, this dog's getting ampicillin, just give the ampicillin. I can tell if it's too high of a dose or the dose is not high enough. You know what I mean? And I'm still able to go to the doctors and be like, this dose doesn't seem like, can we double check the calculate? You know, but I just do it because I have to do it right now, you know, because I just have to. And I'm so good at it. I've been doing it for so long that it's like just another day.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I hear that.
Just another day. Whatever. And this bitch over here.
Look at
Where
her.
did she even come from?
I don't know.
She just like appeared out of nowhere. I didn't even see her. She was in the window 2 seconds ago.
She is all about laying next to me right now.
I would like to have some... Well, see, look at me being a selfish bitch. I think it would be... You know, I'm really interested in everything that Duncan Trussell and that lady were talking about today about the magic.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like having a Wiccan on your podcast. Do you know any Wiccans? Is Corey a Wiccan? She's not a Wiccan.
That'd be so funny if she heard that.
She's
right
not,
now.
right?
I hope she listens to this just for that one part where you
don't
said,
do that.
is Corey a Wiccan?
I just think she's the most eccentric friend of yours.
Yeah, but she's not Wiccan. Like, she's beyond all that. Like, I'm sure she believes in
you're
aspects
right.
of it, but, you know. I went to a Wiccan ceremony once.
Did you? What was that like?
It was called a Bembe.
Bembe?
Yeah, and you go there, and I was
Spell it.
immediately swathed with, I think it was like a basil.
Swath?
Yeah, like they took this giant basil. I think it was basil. I don't know. It was a big leaf. Maybe.
Basil leaves don't grow that big. Come on.
I know. That's why now I think it's something
like
else.
one of those Roman,
Yeah.
like fan leaves?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they brush you up and down.
Banana
with it.
leaf.
No? I
No?
don't know what it was. Here's what I do remember is I got fucking trashed on rosé wine in front of the fire and ended up puking that
So the
night.
Wiccans give wine, huh?
Yeah, I was really...
Not mushrooms,
I think
wine.
I got really sick that night.
Interesting.
And you had to bring gifts of pumpkins and champagne. And I thought that was my favorite part because I was like, I love pumpkins and I love champagne.
Like whole pumpkins?
Yeah, we brought a whole pumpkin.
And champagne. To give to who?
It
What
was
god?
just
What
yeah, it
deity?
was some offering.
To
I don't know if the god was Bembe or if it was just called a Bembe.
Bembe god?
Doug would know. I could ask
We
him
have
for
to
next
Google it.
episode.
Bembe.
Hey, listeners, next episode, Douglas Palermo. How do you even introduce Douglas Palermo? I mean, he's probably like the greatest person ever to talk to, next to Nicky, who's here with me right now.
You had to say that because I was sitting right here.
Well, I didn't have to, but I did. So, we're gonna press stop?
Yes, sir. If you're ready to press stop, sure.
I guess. There was really no real end to any of this.
You're right.
It just keeps going. On and 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 on. Thank you
You're welcome.
for interviewing me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the podcast where I would share with you original writings, poems, raps, short stories, essays, plays, blogs, and so forth. But for this first episode, we're not going to do that. I'm going to share with you an audio recording with my Nana. My Nana, God rest her soul, passed away a couple years ago, just before her 95th birthday. This was recorded in 2011 or 2012 on a cell phone. I tried many times to get this story on her old cassette recorder, but the audio recording was always horrible. Luckily, this is pretty clear. And Pachina Michelina Rosa Torito. Rosa is her maiden name, and that's important to this story because it tells of the origins of the Rosa family. It's a story of my great-grandfather, who was born in the town of Pachina, in the province of Siracusa, in Sicily. The story begins in the mid to late 1800s, and we call it A Scandal in Pachina.
So, what story do you want to tell? What story should we do?
Well, I heard a story about Grandpa when he was a young man,
That's one of my favorites.
and the rich man's son, they were walking, the men, and the rich man's son wanted to be greeted, and they used to greet the rich people by kissing their hand.
This was in Siracusa?
Yes, Pachina. Syracuse is a state like.
The province.
And Pachina is
The town.
the town. And so he refused. He didn't want to kiss his hand. So he smacked him around. The rich man smacked him.
Who was the rich man?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. It was Genovese, wasn't it?
No,
somebody different. Oh.
Somebody different.
I will be quiet.
But anyway, so Grandpa, he got insulted that he smacked him,
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't obey the rules. And then Grandpa waited for him and beat the heck out of him. And he served 6 months in jail.
Mm-hmm. 6 months in jail because he beat the crap out of this guy. He waited for him somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Now, what? And when he was in jail, though, they didn't feed the prisoners back then, right?
No, he was going with Grandma.
He was.
They were going together. Yeah.
And she brought him food and
she brought
hung
him
out with
every
him.
day.
And stuff.
She brought him his main meal every day for the 6 months. But he wasn't going to let him get away with it, so he beat the hell out of him.
Oh, my goodness. But now he's got his own story, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like the bastard, or
Yeah.
not bastard, but
Well, yeah, he didn't have a father, his mother got seduced by this young rich man's son also,
Mm-hmm.
and then
she worked
on the farm.
on the farm or the plantation there.
Yeah, and then she had her baby, and meantime, this rich man that seduced her, he had a couple of brothers, and one brother, the older one, was married, but he didn't have any children.
Uh-huh.
So he offered to take Salvatore, my father. He offered to take him. He raised him until he was 7 years old. Then he gets a heart attack.
That was Philip.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Phil?
I think it was Philip or Paolo. I don't know.
Paolo, maybe it was
Paolo or Philippe. I don't know.
But the rich man's son who seduced Anna, Lorifice or Loridice?
I guess, I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of the two.
Lorifice.
But he seduced her. His name is Carlo. That was Carlo.
No, his name was Carmela.
Carmela.
His name is Carmela Genovese.
Okay.
And but he married another. He married and had 2 daughters with her, and they really got to be friends with my father,
Salvatore.
And they loved him dearly. They knew he was their half brother. They knew it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole town knew it. Everybody. The whole town knew it. Everybody knew everybody's story.
Right.
And I told you that when the uncle died, and he loved his uncle dearly, and his uncle loved him dearly, and he was treated so well. And then the first year that he went to school, his uncle gets a heart attack and dies.
Oh, jeez.
His bad luck. And so his aunt, she said she had enough of her own nieces and nephews, didn't need him around. So she told him to go look for his mother.
How old was he?
7 years old. And he was suffering from malaria. He was very sick. So he went to see his mother, and she took him in, and she hid him from the man that she was living with.
And who was this guy she was living with?
His name was Salvatore Rosa.
And he was a merchant marine?
I don't know what he was, what kind of, he was retired.
Okay.
But he was pretty well up there in years.
Right.
And anyway, so then he told her that he knew that she was taking, hiding the son. So he says that he would accept the son if he could adopt him and give him his name. And that's what he did. She said yes, and, and he married her.
And he married her.
Yeah.
But then they
And then they lived together for many years, and she was contented with him.
And they had another
little
kid,
girl.
A little girl.
My father was 17 years old when this little girl was born.
Wow.
And guess what she named the girl?
Wow.
Carmela.
Unbelievable. The guy that seduced her, he was Carmelo.
Yeah, Carmelo.
Right? And she named her Carmela.
Yeah.
That's irony right there. That's hilarious.
She must have loved that name.
Yeah.
Either that or she must have still loved him. Who knows?
And then Salvatore eventually...
Yeah, so Salvatore Rosa's the name. He was adopted, and his name was changed to Salvatore Rosa.
And then...
Because his name would have been Salvatore Lorifice.
Right.
Because the man that married her, the man that seduced.
Well, and also, no, it would have been last name Genovese.
No, because he didn't marry her.
Oh, right, that's right.
She was a single girl.
That's right.
And so it would have been Salvatore Lorifice.
Yeah, even though he does have Genovese blood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the blood is mixed.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not really Roses at all because...
No, we're not. We're Genovese.
Because we're Salvatore's children. So he was, Genovese and Lorifice. And then the girl that they had, what was her name?
Carmela.
Carmela. Oh, yeah, Carmela. She's the Rosa.
Yes.
She's Rosa Lorifice.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. and she was a pretty little girl. And smart. She was so intelligent. She knew how to look. They had looms those days where you made your material and you put your own design in your material. And they used to do that. That's what the ladies used to do to pass time. And she was very smart. She picked that up, and so when she was only about 15, 16 years old, she got married. They made her. They arranged a wedding for her. They arranged a marriage for her. But she married him because that was what they told her that she was supposed to do. So she did. So there was a war going on with Ethiopia, and everybody had to go to this war. So they told him that if he wanted to get away with it, make believe he did something to his eyes, like temporarily blind himself. But he didn't do it temporarily. He really, really blinded himself. So he didn't have to go in service somewhere, but she was blind. He was blind. In the meantime, the soldiers they came into that town because they used to go in and out of that town. So one of the soldiers fell in love with her and took her away and took her to Rome.
Unbelievable. And she left him alone.
She left. Yeah.
And Salvatore never forgave his sister for that, right?
No.
Doing that.
He says that she happened to be in the United States. When this happened, he was in the United States. He said, had he been in Sicily, he would have gone. He would have really,
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't have let that happen.
Jeez. And why did he come over to the United States?
Because to make a living, honey. Everybody was so poor.
Right.
So it was hard, It was hard all over the world. Even the United States was hard, too, in them days. It's hard now. Really.
It is.
It's not getting any better.
No, in our country.
It was nice there for a while, but it's changing.
It was nice for our country for a while, but the rest of the world is just...
Right.
Look, why does God make us suffer? It's on the TV.
Uh-huh.
Good question.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, game show? Is it a game show based off the Bible?
I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy. Look at the shirts they're wearing. Look at that guy's shirt.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like birds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you got the whole thing in the...
Yeah, we got the whole story recorded. Thanks. Yep, still recording. We've been recording for 9 minutes and 42, so hey. Isn't that neat?
Yeah. Do you feel that?
Do I feel what? When I drink vodka?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You feel chill, right? You feel like just relaxing.
Right.
And mellow.
The fingers, you can't do that when you're driving.
No. Absolutely not.
You have to be on those.
Well, to be honest, man, I don't really like vodka all that much.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Is it different?
I'll do whiskey.
Really?
Yeah.
But I can't see the difference.
No.
No, it just relaxes me, and I feel better.
Well, that's good.
And then my pains go away, and I feel better for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't last.
No.
No.
Does it last you through the night?
Yeah. I can go to bed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I go with to bed, and I get that. I have that feeling of, being relaxed, and that helps me.
Old Nasty Rascal. And Old Nasty Rascal is one of the most legendary blues singers that nobody has ever heard of. At least I had never heard of him. And after talking with him for a while, he has agreed to let me share with you his stories and thoughts about life and death. Because unfortunately, Old Nasty Rascal has a terminal condition. He won't tell me what it is, but he only has a short time to live. And so I am honored and privileged to share with you the final recordings of Old Nasty Rascal. And in this first segment, he's going to explain the origins of that name.
Yeah, I know. My days are over. My time has come and gone. And then it came again. And after a few hours of refractory period, it came one more time, but I got nothing left. I got no juice anymore. Yeah, some would say it's sad. You know, everybody remembers old dirty bastard. Everybody remembers old dirty bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan, but I'm telling you, nobody remembers me, old nasty rascal. And that boy, he stole his name from me. What's his name? I don't even remember what his real name was. He's just a dirty bastard to everybody, so... Yeah, old nasty rascal, I was out singing the blues long before you was singing the rap and singing the hip-hop. I was singing the blues, laying down the foundations for y'all. Now you just cast me aside like nothing. I know I'm a mediocre hack. It's alright. You can giggle, you can snigger, you can nod your head, I understand. Oh boy, it's like that Leonard Cohen song where he says, what's the line where he says, I ache in the places where I used to play. My problem is I'm still playing in the places that make me ache. But every once in a while, I just sit back and I breathe and I look back on all the crazy times and I say, well, you know, at least you did something. At least you did something, you old nasty rascal. At least there'll be something left when you're gone.
Can the circumference of a thought become tangent to the topic?
I wish people could realize that things just are.
What do I fear the least?
Describe your most memorable smell in detail. How should we choose to face the impending situation?
Your life history is in the folding pattern of your laundry.
What is the greatest lesson we'll never learn? Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to announce that this podcast is broadcast in crystal clear 432, the frequency that hurts so good. These subtle vibrations have been slowly decalcifying your pineal gland. Our fourth dimensional nanobots have been working undertime to scrub your consciousness clean of fear, judgment, and ego gratification. Our time wave has now reached the 0 point, so without further ado, ladies, gentlemen, and cosmic entities of all physical proportions, allow your hearts to copulate with your minds.
Exaggerate your idiosyncrasies.
Surrender your love, and ask and ye ask and ye ask. Okay, let's see what we've got here on our first grab into the mailbag. Yes, that's right, I have mail, even though nobody knows about me yet, because people are already sending me questions from the future. So, let's pull one of these out, shall we? This comes from a person in Millville, New Jersey. It reads, Dear Oracle, throughout most of the last decade, I've had an on and off again affair with a girl I'm madly in love with. Okay. She's never been able to fully commit, and now she lives with a guy. She says she loves us both in different ways, but clearly gets actual romantic fulfillment from me alone. They own a house together, Jesus Christ, which is one of her constant excuses for not being able to break up with him. I love this girl, and I know if she just made the choice to follow her heart, that she might actually be happy. I don't think I can wait forever, though, and I keep telling her that if I meet someone else, then she'll lose me. My friends all tell me to let her go, and I've tried, sometimes for months or a year, but this intense sexual attraction causes us to collide back together every time. The thing that really bothers me, though, is the negative karma accrued from knowing she's cheating on some guy. If I was in his position, I would be devastated. Signed, not cut out for this, in Millville, New Jersey. Well, okay. Relationship advice, always the basic kind. Okay. Dear Not Cut, you actually don't need my advice, since you seem to choose good friends. You do not, however, seem to choose good partners. Of course, how are you ever going to know what a good partner is if you keep wasting your energy and emotional resources on a bad one? She knows that you won't find someone because all of your attention is on her. Sounds like this girl wants to have the best of both worlds. The loveless monotony of domesticated partnership with lustful binges of sex and intelligent conversation. Am I right? It's certainly not fair to the guy she's living with, and it's definitely not healthy for you, karmically, spiritually, psychologically, etc. You need to ditch this bitch fast. It sounds like she's been poisoning you for a long time, and you probably eat that shit up, because I'm guessing you're a saver. Well, my friend, not everyone can be saved. Or rather, not everyone can be saved by you. My advice, which would be obvious even to a middle school kid, is to cut her out. Just let go. Move on. However you need to do it, even if by restraining order. Don't even look for anyone else. Concentrate on optimizing yourself. Become the kind of person you want to attract. Yeah, sure, opposites attract, but sometimes they hold on too tight, losing connection with everything else. However, you can press two of the same polarities together and they'll know how to hold back, creating a sacred space for the field to flow. Sorry, I was getting metaphorically esoteric there. The point is that a lot of shit's happened in the last decade. You, my friend, have been wasting your time with someone stuck on lower vibrations, while the rest of us are already playing with higher frequencies. It's time to tune in. Dear Oracle, I am in my mid-30s with a full-time job. Many of my friends are married, and many of those already have kids. I'm just happy to have a girlfriend who isn't crazy. Yet, I find that it's harder and harder to keep up with everybody. I know this is natural. Circumstances and people change. Shit, a bunch of my friends are already dead. Lately, it's gotten to the point where even my two best friends don't talk to each other. I see other groups of like-minded individuals coming together. Now, we're past our prime, so to speak, and everyone is splintered into their own reality tunnels. I can't remember the last time we all hung out together, got fucked up, and laughed at the best goddamn inside jokes ever. Sometimes I think it's me, that somehow this is the reality I've created for myself, close enough, but always out of reach. If we really do live forever, what's the point of worrying about now? Signed, Peerless Immortal, in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Well, dear Peerless Immortal, you think too much. I like it. First of all, dude, get off the Fourth Circuit trip. Social, sexual identity. That's what everyone in your age range is doing right now. They're just carving out the reality tunnels and burrowing the fuck in. Okay, let's be scientific for a minute. Look up Dunbar's number. Go ahead. I'll wait. Yeah, so you can read on, but the gist is that there is a limit to the number of social relationships our brains can actually process at any given time. Social networking exacerbates this. See, we're fooled into thinking we need to be everywhere and keep track of everyone, but Dunbar's number suggests that we can only maintain somewhere between 100 and 250 stable relationships at any given time, which harkens back to the average size of our various ancestral tribes. In reality, we barely have time to see our closest friends and family members. Some of us are probably better at managing all that than others. Personally, I prefer frequent and long stretches of solitude. Nevertheless, I like to think of true friendship as something not bound by time or space, but rather by karmic threads that weave in and out of various incarnations and lifetimes. Do you really think you need to catch up on how your college friend's baby is doing? Sure, it would be nice, but you're also going to be able to do that in the kingdom of heaven. Yes, I mean the actual kingdom of heaven that we're creating right now. It's already happened. You're already there at that barbecue laughing and having a good time. And if it doesn't, you get to die and try to do it again in a new form. No? Well, fuck it then. You said it best, my friend. Circumstances and people change. The only constant in this universe is change. You might as well get used to it. If you get a chance to see an old friend, that's great. If you think about them, give them a damn phone call. Send a text. Whatever helps lift your guilt, loneliness, or whatever's bothering you. Just don't make the mistake of thinking it's all about you. Your two best friends don't talk to each other, right? But I assume they're each talking to you. So what's between them shouldn't have anything to do with you, inasmuch as you seem to be promoting harmony between all. That's commendable, as long as you remember to stay out of it. As for hanging out together, I refer to my previous Kingdom of Heaven comment, the one where I may have lost you. Maybe you'll all meet up someday, hopefully before one of your funerals. My practical, for-the-moment advice: go get fucked up and listen to The Last Time by the Blind Boys of Alabama. Okay, finally, a short one. Dear Oracle, boxers or briefs? Signed Indecisive in Sioux City, Iowa. Dear Indecisive, boxer briefs, or, if conditions permit, just powder puff and free ball it. Okay, we have time for one more. Let's hope it's a good one. Dear Oracle, all of my life I've been on a path of seeking knowledge, trying to learn as much as I can while I'm incarnating in this lifetime, or whatever. At this point, all the philosophies, religions, concepts, theories, and laws swim around in my head with no apparent connection. Despite all the Despite all the revelatory possibilities that exist at my own will's choosing, I find myself burdened with the absence of a path, a goal, a spiritual quest or purpose. I can't follow only one path, yet I can't incorporate all that I've learned into creating a constructive reality. Do I just think too much? Which path is the right path? Signed, Vague and Diffused in Austin, Texas. Yes, wow, these are the kind of letters I like to receive, ladies and gentlemen. So let's give this poor bastard a response. Dear Vague and Diffused, there is no such thing as thinking too much, since the entire illusory universe is but one thought. Your journey, although it appears separate and distinct from others' realities, is really just another manifestation of the eternal hero's journey, separation from and return to the source. You do not have to choose a path. You don't even have to seek to create one. You simply have to take a step. For that is the one path we are all on. You are always on the path. The path is traveled only by the seeker, the one who fears not what's around the bend or the trail left behind. The path is not the territory, and we are altogether lost. I'll leave you with this quote from A Course in Miracles. Quote, I do not know the thing I am, and therefore do not know what I am doing, where I am, or how to look upon the world or myself. Yet, in this learning is salvation born, and what you are will tell you of itself. If you have a question for which the universe is providing no reasonable answers, please don't hesitate to send me your questions, queries, quagmires, quandaries, etc. The email address is asktheoracle@gmail.com. That's ASKTHEORACLE@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. And remember, if the universe tells you it's time to go, say namaste.
brother, man. Like, you know I'm gonna be calling you to say happy birthday. Like, what's the deal with your phone, bro? Seriously. Like, I know I don't have a whole class of students to sing happy birthday to me, but I took a picture of a trolley chop and I left a comment on Nicky's post, and then I sent you a comment, and I tried to call you like 3 times, dude, to say happy birthday. That's some rude shit, man. I don't know, call me back, man. Happy birthday, old bitch. But happy birthday. And, if, play this for Nicky. Nicky, like, man, I pray for the day that a woman leaves a post like that for my birthday, because that was, my God, that brought tears to my eyes. And it left a stain on the seat. Just kidding. Mark, call me back, bro. Bye.
Know that nothing matters. You can despair over this knowledge. You can rejoice with this knowledge and be free. You can do whatever you like because none of it matters. People say to me, well, if you think nothing matters, why don't you just kill yourself? And I say, I would if I thought it would fucking matter.
Hey, by the way, Miss Marcus, I thought you were going to invite me.
I just didn't think it was appropriate. Earhart's is for forced personality.
Come on, David invited a bunch of civilians. Nobody who came over for the big night. You'll notice one more. Marcus is one of us now.
Is he? I don't see an Earth Alliance symbol on his chest or flight wings. Look, I said I didn't think it was appropriate. It was my call, okay? Can you wait to table the problem with us?
No, she's right. Better off. Marcus is keeping a low profile right now.
Right about us.
I didn't think so, but if I was wrong, I was wrong. I'd rather do something and make a mistake than be frightened into doing nothing. That's the problem with me back home. Folks have been conned into thinking they can't change the world. Have to accept what is. The world is changing every day. And the question is, who's doing it?
What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets.